Hello everyone. Welcome back to Whodunit, where we always bring you the most chilling true crime mysteries. Today, we're once again diving into a heartbreaking story about a beautiful young woman from Stockton, California. So, let's get into it. This is the last known footage of Dalene Carlson, a 3-year-old who had just moved into a new place, eager to start a new chapter in her life. In the video, Dalene looks happy, relaxed, and full of life. But look a little closer, there's something unsettling. A man, a complete stranger, walks up and wraps his arm around her waist. Almost instantly, Dalene heads for the restroom, clearly uncomfortable with his presence. About 20 minutes later, she walks outside and approaches someone, but the glare from the lights makes it impossible to see who it is. That's when things start to feel off. Dalene begins acting strangely, completely out of character. What happened that night? Why did she seem so shaken after that encounter? When investigators reviewed every frame of the surveillance footage, they uncovered a chilling truth, one almost too disturbing to believe.
Dalene didn't deserve anything that happened to her. Not one bit of it.
That Saturday night, August 6th, 2011, should have been just another night for 23-year-old Dalene Carlson. After weeks of settling into her new life, she finally wanted a little fun. A break before school began. She was living with her Aunt Maggie and cousin Cecily in Stockton, the only family she had nearby, and her energy had filled their quiet home with laughter again.
Dalene was very excited to come to Stockton to go to school. She had potential to do whatever she wanted to do.
When I found out that Dalene wanted to come here and live with us, it made me feel really good. She feels comfortable with being with her auntie. Made me feel proud.
The plan was simple. Go out together to Finnegan's pub, have a drink, meet some new people. But fate is cruel. Cecily came down with a fever that evening and decided to stay home. Dalene hesitated, then smiled and said she'd go alone, just for a couple hours. Before stepping out, she turned back and promised, "I'll be home by 1 o'clock. Aunt Maggie, don't worry." It was the last time Maggie ever saw her alive. 1 o'clock came and went. Then 2, the house stayed quiet. Maggie called her phone once, twice, then over and over, but every call went unanswered. She told herself Dalene might have crashed at a friend's place.
I was calling all the people that Cecily knew, hoping they could tell me something, but none of them really knew either. Then I really started getting worried. Can't just drop off the face of the earth.
But when the sun came up, her bed was still empty, her phone still silent, and a heavy dread began to sink in. Maggie started calling everyone. Dalene knew no one had heard from her since she left the pub. Fear turned to panic. She called the police, but the response hit her like ice water. "It hasn't been 24 hours yet. She's probably fine." But Maggie knew better. Dalene wasn't the kind of girl to vanish without a word. So the family began their own search, driving through the streets, putting up flyers with her photo, bright eyes, soft smile, brown and white striped top, ripped jeans, a face impossible to forget, yet suddenly gone without a trace. By the following evening, even the police couldn't deny something was wrong. 2 seasoned detectives, Burrell and Larry Lane, were assigned to the case, and the moment they read her file, they felt it too, that invisible chill of a story about to turn dark. Burrell later said quietly,
Dalene was kind of your all-American girl. She was a young, attractive, intelligent lady who had a very bright future ahead of her. Her disappearance was highly unusual. Something really just kind of struck a chord with me, and it really seemed to me that this was not right.
A young woman with plans, with people who love her, doesn't just disappear. Something happened that night, and somewhere between the music, the laughter, and the neon lights of Finnegan's pub, evil had already found its way in. Detectives Burrell and Larry Lane from the Stockton Police Department knew from the start this wasn't just another missing person case. Something about it felt wrong. Their first stop was the last place anyone saw Dalene alive. Finnegan's pub. It was a small, crowded bar on the corner of town, neon lights flickering, laughter spilling into the street. The kind of place where everyone knows someone. Inside, 2 security cameras watched quietly from above, one near the entrance, another by the restroom hallway. Cold, mechanical eyes that had unknowingly captured the last hours of Dalene Carlson's life. At 12:41 a.m., the footage showed Dalene walking in, wearing her brown and white striped top and ripped jeans. She looked carefree, smiling, chatting with friends, just another young woman enjoying a Saturday night. But then, only 7 minutes later, something changed. A man stepped into the frame, a goatee, a backward cap, easy confidence. He walked right up behind Dalene and wrapped his arm around her waist. Her reaction was immediate. She stiffened, stepped aside, and hurried straight to the restroom. The man turned and walked away, unfazed. The detectives froze the frame. The man was identified as Jason Gilly, a close friend of both Dalene and her cousin Cecily. When questioned, Jason said he had seen Dalene that night but insisted he'd left the bar around 1 o'clock a.m. to care for his sick brother. His grandmother even confirmed he was home soon after. On paper, his story held up.
Jason said that he had been at the bar with Dalene that night and that the plan was that he was going to give her a ride home.
With no solid evidence, investigators turned their attention to another name that surfaced: Jacob Evangelisti, Dalene's ex-boyfriend. They had broken up just 4 days before she disappeared, and according to witnesses, it hadn't ended well.
Jason told us that Dalene had been recently dating Jacob Evangelisti.
Burrell and Lane reviewed the footage again. At 1:46 a.m., Dalene appeared outside the bar, talking to a man whose face was hidden by a harsh glare from a light above the door. Her hands moved sharply, her posture tense. It looked like an argument. Then, as she turned to walk away, the man stepped forward into view. The light shifted and his face came into focus. It was Jacob Evangelisti. He admitted to meeting Dalene that night, claiming she broke up with him at the bar and left alone soon after. He repeated it over and over. He had nothing to do with her disappearance. But Burrell wasn't convinced. He leaned back in his chair, eyes fixed on the footage. Voice calm but certain. Both men were there that night. Both told the truth, just not all of it. What the cameras revealed was chilling, but what they didn't show would soon become even darker. Detective Larry Lane found a thread, small, fragile, but enough to pull. It was the last text message Dalene had ever sent. Sometime early Sunday morning, the message was to a friend named James' cousin, saying she was heading to another party after leaving Finnegan's pub. That meant one thing: Dalene never went home that night. Burrell and Lane built a new theory. If she had planned to keep the night going, maybe she stopped somewhere for drinks or snacks. They listed every 24-hour store near the pub, and one stood out: Food for Less, just a few blocks away. With a full network of security cameras, when they reviewed the footage from around 1:30 a.m., they saw her, Dalene Carlson, alive and moving calmly through the aisles. Not alone, but with a man beside her. They were chatting, laughing, buying a few things together. To anyone else, it looked ordinary. But when the man turned toward the camera, the detectives froze. The goatee, the backward cap, Jason Gilly, the man who swore he had left the bar by 1 o'clock, the man whose grandmother vouched for him, the man who had just been caught on camera with the missing girl 30 minutes later. Jason was brought in again. He looked tired, defensive. His words came out clipped.
Sorry it took so long. How's it going?
Getting tired.
What's that?
Getting tired.
Yeah.
They left him alone in the interrogation room for an hour, long enough for silence to dig into his nerves. When they finally returned, Burrell sat across from him, speaking softly.
What time did you get home?
About 1:20, 1:30.
We don't expect you to know every minute of what you did. That's not reasonable. It's not reasonable. Okay. But that's the good thing with surveillance, video surveillance at different locations, the cameras. We know a lot more of what's going on. Right. Okay?
Dalene Carlson simply disappeared from the world.
Jason, let's make it better.
Let's make it better right now.
Okay?
Did you guys have sex?
No.
Jason.
Jason,
Jason.
We had sex and we hung out for a little bit more, and then she just said she wanted to go home.
At that moment, the detectives couldn't arrest Jason. Not yet. Without a body, there was no proof of murder.
And what else has slipped your mind, Jason?
No.
Jason.
Jason.
Jason. Jason.
No.
Where are we going to find the body?
Help us find her.
Help
Jason.
us bring her home.
Her family deserves it,
You have a family. She has a
She
family.
deserves it. I know that.
She does.
I did not do anything to her.
Dalene Carlson was now just a smiling face on missing posters fluttering in the dry California wind. But Detective Brad Burrell couldn't shake the feeling Jason was lying, and the truth was still hiding in plain sight. So he went back to what never lies: surveillance cameras. For days, Burrell reviewed footage from every gas station around Stockton, tracing the route Jason claimed to have driven after dropping Dalene near home. Hour after hour passed in the dim glow of the evidence room, until one frame froze him in place. 11 o'clock a.m. August 7th, 2011. A silver sedan pulled into a gas station on the southern edge of Stockton. Burrell zoomed in. The plates matched Jason's car. Jason stepped out, dirty shirt, stains on his hands, hair matted, eyes hollow. He looked exhausted, disoriented, like a man who had seen something he couldn't forget. The camera showed him checking the passenger door, slamming it shut hard before driving off. Burrell's instincts screamed. He took her out there. He whispered, dragged her body from the car. That door didn't close right because she was never supposed to leave it. But with no body, Jason was still untouchable. He walked free. Meanwhile, Dalene's family kept searching, printing flyers, calling hospitals, praying for a miracle. Cecily, her cousin, was eaten alive by guilt. If I hadn't been sick that night, she said quietly, maybe she'd still be here. Then, 2 months later, on a gray October morning, a farmer discovered something in his cornfield 20 miles south of Stockton: a decomposed, partially unclothed body. The coroner confirmed the worst. It was Dalene Carlson. She had been shot multiple times in the torso, and once execution style, in the back of the head. Nearby, investigators collected several H&F 22 caliber shell casings scattered in the dirt. When the news broke, Stockton fell silent. Aunt Maggie's voice trembled as she spoke to reporters.
I didn't want it to be her. I didn't want it to be Dalene. But then on the other side of it, I wanted closure, to know what happened, where she was, bring her home.
Days later, a confidential informant called the police, saying Jason owned a Borke 22 caliber handgun that wasn't registered. When tested, the bullets matched perfectly with those found at the crime scene. Jason Gilly was finally arrested, and this time, he couldn't lie his way out. Justice doesn't hurry. It waits patiently, quietly, until light reaches even the darkest corner. And when it does, the one who thought he'd escaped finally meets his shadow. The courtroom was silent when the verdict was read. Jason Gilly, once a friend, once a familiar face at every party, now stood as a convicted murderer, sentenced to life in prison without parole. But in that moment, under the cold light of justice, no one felt relief. At the back of the courtroom, Aunt Maggie sat clutching a framed photo of Dalene, the same smile, the same eyes that would never meet hers again. Her voice trembled when a reporter asked if she felt justice had been served. They say justice is done, she whispered. But to me, justice would be her coming home. And that will never happen. Dalene Carlson, 23 years old, bright, curious, full of plans, she had believed the world was still a safe place. She didn't know that evil can wear a familiar face, speak softly, and smile like a friend. Jason Gilly thought he could erase his tracks. But no one outruns time or the unblinking eyes of a camera. Every frame remembered what he wanted to forget. And justice was waiting. A pause, a breath, then, softly, if you want to keep following these stories where light exposes the darkness, And every truth carries a price. Stay with me. The next case might keep you up at night.